Question 1. In light of recent developments in building energy efficiency mandates, Esteban Morales is estimating the HVACR requirements for a mid-sized commercial office building in a mixed climate zone, Zone 3 per ASHRAE 90.1. The owner is requesting the most cost-effective system that meets code but offers room for future energy upgrades. Which of the following approaches should Esteban prioritize in his cost estimate and proposal? A. Include high-efficiency RF systems with a dedicated outdoor air system DOAs. B. Specify a baseline packaged rooftop unit system with standard efficiency. C. Use a central chilled water plant with oversized cooling towers for redundancy. D. Recommend mini-split systems for each office to allow individual control. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. High-efficiency RF systems paired with DOAs are co-compliant, support energy efficiency, and provide future flexibility for upgrades like energy recovery or integration into building automation systems. The ASHRAE 90.1 encourages the use of energy-efficient technologies that reduce HVAC energy consumption. Option B meets only the minimum, but lacks upgrade potential. Option C is costly and complex for mid-sized projects. Mini-splits D are inefficient at scale and less appropriate for commercial zoning. Reference ASHRAE 90.1, 2019, sections 6.4, 6.5 UC 2021. Question 2. Throughout the course of bidding on HVACR scopes, estimators must interpret drawing sets. What is the most critical reason to cross-reference mechanical drawings with architectural and structural plans when estimating duct routing? A. To avoid purchasing the wrong equipment sizes. B. To ensure correct thermostat placement. C. To prevent clashes with structural members and ceiling heights. D. To verify zone control wiring requirements. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Clashes between ductwork and structural architectural elements are a common cause of costly change orders. Estimators must check ceiling spaces, slab heights, and wall types to ensure feasibility of duct runs. Neglecting this can result in redesigns, delays, and added cost, while A, B, and D may be tasks for the installer or controls engineer. C is central to accurate HVACR estimation. Reference SMACNA Duct Construction Standards, Air Coordination Guidelines. Question 3. The fundamental question is, what method is most reliable for determining material quantities in a digital takeoff for ductwork in a multi-story hotel project? A. Using default duct sizing charts for every floor. B. Manually scaling from printed drawings using a ruler. C. Utilizing digitized drawings with layering features in takeoff software. D. Referring to past project estimates of similar size. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Using layered digitized drawings allows for efficient and accurate quantification of duct sizes, lengths, and fittings. Software like PlanSwift or Bluebeam Review supports this method. Manual or historical approaches introduce errors or rely on assumptions. Aspen SMACNA both recommend software-based takeoff for complex projects. Reference SMACA HVAC Systems Duct Design Manual, the ASP Estimating Guide. Question 4. Given the circumstances of a university research lab renovation, Daniel Kim is tasked with estimating a ventilation system compliant with clean air standards. The lab requires high air change rates and fume hood exhaust. What should Daniel emphasize in his cost estimation to ensure compliance and accuracy? A. General building air exchange rates per IC. B. Dedicated exhaust systems with variable air volume (VEV) controls. C. Open air return ducting to reduce pressure drop. D. Shared ventilation with the adjacent office area. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Laboratories require specialized exhaust systems with precise controls to manage high ventilation rates and fume hood operation. VEV systems help manage energy use while maintaining code compliance per ASHRAE 62.1 and ETC 0.5. Options A, C, and D fail to meet safety, isolation, and energy performance requirements. Reference ANSI 0.5. ASHRAE 62.1, 2022 Inc. 2020 on Chapter 5. Question 5. The predominant theory suggests that overestimating insulation material quantities by more than 15% in large-scale hydronic piping projects may negatively affect which of the following aspects of A contractor's competitiveness. A. Job site safety compliance. B. Project scheduling. C. Material storage logistics. D. Bid accuracy and profitability. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Significant overestimation inflates bid pricing, making it less competitive and possibly leading to lost bids. It also skews profit margins, while overordering may impact storage. C. The financial impact. D is most critical from an estimating standpoint. Accuracy in takeoff and applying correct waste factors is emphasized by Aspen MK reference, ASP Estimating Manual, and MEA Mechanical Estimating Guide. Question 6. Under the assumption that a contractor intends to submit a bid for a government-funded project, which cost element is most likely to require documentation for compliance with prevailing wage laws? A. Equipment depreciation. B. Profit markup. C. Labor burden. D. Material taxes. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Prevailing wage laws, Davis-Bacon Act, require contractors to document labor costs including wages, benefits, and burden. Estimators must account for this accurately to remain compliant and competitive. Equipment depreciation and material taxes aren't wage-related, and profit is not regulated in this context. Reference: Davis-Bacon Act, EUS, Department of Labor Wage Determination Guidelines. Question 7. In the context of energy code compliance, which of the following best explains why an HVACR estimator must evaluate equipment's HRConquer ratings during the bid phase for new commercial builds? A. To align with client preferences for specific brands. B. To ensure the units are physically compatible with ductwork. C. To meet mandatory energy code requirements and qualify for rebates. D. To minimize freight and delivery timelines. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. HRConquer ratings determine a unit's efficiency and are tied directly to energy code compliance at ASHRAE 90.1. Rebates and incentives often hinge on these metrics. Clients and delivery logistics. A. D. A secondary and physical fit. B. Is considered later in design, not during code evaluation. Reference: ASHRAE 90.1, 2019, Table 681. LUC 2021 Commercial Provisions. Question 8. As demonstrated by a recent project delay on a hospital HVAC retrofit, Emily Zhang failed to factor in lead times for specialized air handling equipment. What is the best estimating practice to avoid such delays during the bid phase? A. Reduce labor hours to offset equipment delays. B. Add a general contingency cost to the total bid. C. Contact suppliers for lead times during bid preparation. D. Use standard delivery assumptions from past projects. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Lead times vary widely based on custom specifications, market demand, and supplier capacity. Contacting suppliers for current lead times is a best practice supported by Aspen SMACNA. Guessing or using outdated assumptions. D. Introduces risk. Reference: ASP Estimating Manual section on procurement coordination. Question 9. Among the various tools available, what function does HVAC estimating software provide that directly improves bid consistency across multiple estimators within a company? A. Stores model numbers of old equipment. B. Allows estimators to draft blueprints. C. Standardizes labor and material assemblies for uniform cost outputs. D. Automatically submits bids to the general contractor. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. HVAC estimating software enables consistent use of pricing, productivity factors, and material assemblies. This standardization helps ensure accuracy and repeatability across teams. Drafting blueprints. B. And equipment storage. A. CAD or asset management features, not estimating tools. Reference: USMEAN's Estimating Guide, Trimble MEP estimating software documentation. Question 10. When faced with discrepancies between architectural drawings and mechanical specs, what is the most appropriate action for an HVAC estimator to take before submitting a bid? A. Assume the mechanical specs are always correct. B. Submit a request for information (RFI) for clarification. C. Choose whichever is more cost-effective to estimate. D. Remove the scope from the bid until resolved. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Submitting an RFI ensures clarity and prevents bidding errors or disputes during construction. Making assumptions or omissions introduces risk. This approach aligns with professional standards for pre-bid communication and contract interpretation. Reference. A general conditions as best practices guide. Question 11. From a practical standpoint, Maria Sanchez is estimating labor costs for installing ductwork in a multi-tenant retail space with varied ceiling heights and multiple fire-rated assemblies. How should she best adjust her labor productivity rates to reflect these conditions? A. Use standard productivity rates for all ductwork regardless of complexity. B. Increase productivity rates for fire-rated duct sections due to additional sealing and inspection. C. Decrease labor productivity rates because varied ceiling heights simplify installation. D. Apply a flat 10% contingency to labor regardless of conditions. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Fire-rated ductwork requires specialized sealing, testing, and inspections, increasing labor intensity. Estimators must adjust productivity accordingly per SMACNA guidelines and project specifications. Assuming standard rates, A. Underestimates effort, while C. Incorrectly assumes varied ceilings ease installation. Flat contingencies. D. Do not specifically address complexity. Reference. SMACNA Fire and Smoke Dampers Installation, the IMP 2021 section on fire-rated assemblies. Question 12. Under the assumption that a project includes chilled water piping for a hospital renovation, what is the most critical factor for Justin Lee to consider when estimating insulation materials and costs? A. Use the minimum insulation thickness from local energy codes without adjustment. B. Include insulation thicknesses that meet both energy codes and condensation control requirements. C. Exclude insulation on piping less than 2 inches in diameter to save costs. D. Only insulate pipes exposed to outdoor air. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Hospitals have strict requirements for both thermal efficiency and condensation prevention to avoid mold and maintain air quality. Local codes and ASHRAE guidelines specify insulation thicknesses that must be adhered to. Is simply meeting minimums A or partial insulation C. D. Risks non-compliance and costly rework. Reference at ASHRAE Handbook. HVAC Applications. IMP 2021 Chapter 6. Question 13. Taking into account the evidence from recent projects when estimating equipment costs for a packaged rooftop unit, what should an estimator include to accurately reflect total installed cost beyond the equipment list price? A. Only the manufacturer's list price of the unit. B. Add costs for rigging, curb adapters, electrical connections, and startup. C. Exclude costs for duct connections assuming existing ductwork. D. Estimate only labor and equipment, ignoring permits and inspections. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Installed cost includes rigging, curb adapters, electrical and control wiring, startup and commissioning costs. Neglecting these can underestimate total project cost. Assumptions about existing ductwork C. may be incorrect and permits D. are typically part of overall project cost. Reference Estimating Guide, IMP 2021 Equipment Installation Sections. Question 14. Considering the evidence when faced with conflicting information between mechanical equipment schedules and specifications, what is the most professional and contractually appropriate action an estimator should take? A. Use the equipment schedule data and ignore the specs. B. Use the specs and disregard the equipment schedule. C. Issue a request for information RFI to clarify discrepancies before bidding. D. Bid both options and let the client decide later. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. RFIs ensure clarity and protect against errors that may lead to costly change orders or disputes. Blindly choosing one document A, B, or guessing D increases project risk and undermines professionalism. Reference A are general conditions. Estimating best practices. Question 15. By evaluating system requirements, Hector Ruiz is sizing the cooling load for a new gymnasium with large glass facades and high occupancy. What is the most significant heat gain factor he must consider beyond typical internal loads? A. Solar heat gain through glazing. B. Heat gain from lighting only. C. Heat generated by HVAC equipment. D. Heat lost through insulated walls. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Large glass facades significantly increase solar heat gain, often the dominant load in spaces with extensive glazing. Lighting and occupants contribute, but as secondary. Heat loss, D, is the opposite of heat gain and affects heating load calculations. Reference ASHRAE Handbook Fundamentals, Emmanuel J. and Emmanuel N. Load Calculation Guidelines. Question 16. In the context of safety and OSHA compliance, which of the following is the most essential item for an estimator to verify when including scaffolding or lift rental costs in an HVACR bid for an installation on a high-rise? A, that the rental includes basic insurance coverage. B, that the equipment meets OSHA requirements for fall protection and load limits. C, that the equipment brand is popular and easily serviced. D, that the rental company offers the lowest daily rate. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. OSHA mandates strict standards for fall protection, equipment safety, and load limits for aerial lifts and scaffolding. Ensuring compliance is critical to avoid fines, delays, or accidents. Insurance, A, and cost, D, are important but secondary. Brand popularity, C, is irrelevant to compliance. A reference, OSHA 29 CFR Part 1910 Subpart D and CR Point 20. Question 17. When analyzing labor costs for a project with multiple subcontractors, what is the most effective way for an estimator to ensure accurate inclusion of labor burden and indirect costs? A. Estimate a flat percentage for all subcontractors. B. Request detailed labor burden rates from each subcontractor and apply accordingly. C. Ignore subcontractor burden since it's included in their quote. D. Assume standard industry average burden for all trades. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Labor burden includes taxes, insurance, benefits, and indirect costs that vary by subcontractor. Requesting detailed rates ensures accuracy. Flat percentages, they de-risk under or overestimating. Assuming burden included. C. Can cause cost omissions. Reference for US means estimating manual. The contractor's accounting best practices. Question 18. In the modern context of HVACR bidding, which of the following best explains the role of value engineering during the estimating phase? A. Reducing project scope to the lowest possible cost regardless of client needs. B. Identifying cost-saving alternatives that maintain functionality and code compliance. C. Eliminating optional equipment to maximize profit margin. D. Ignoring manufacturer specifications to lower costs. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Value engineering is a structured approach to reduce cost without sacrificing quality or compliance. It often involves substitution of materials or methods that achieve the same performance. Options A, C, and D risk project failure or non-compliance. Reference ASP Estimating Manual, Lead and Energy Code Compliance Guidelines. Question 19. While examining project timelines, what is the most critical reason for an estimator to incorporate equipment lead times into the overall bid schedule for a commercial HVAC installation? A. To determine subcontractor payment milestones. B. To ensure equipment arrives when labor is ready to install. C. To comply with warranty start dates. D. To negotiate better prices with vendors. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Coordinating delivery with installation avoids costly delays or storage issues on site. Equipment arriving too early or late disrupts workflow and project schedules. While warranty, C, and payment milestones, A, are important, installation coordination is paramount. Reference ASP Project Management Guide, a construction scheduling best practices. Question 20. The core principles of ASHRAE 62.1 require that fresh air ventilation rates be based on occupancy and space type. If Ricardo Lopez is estimating ventilation for a conference room, which factor is the primary driver for ventilation quantity? A. The size of the HVAC equipment. B. The square footage of the room only. C. The number of occupants and the room's use. D. The type of ductwork used. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. ASHRAE 62.1 ventilation rates depend primarily on occupancy density and function. G. Conference room versus storage. Square footage, B, is a factor, but occupant load drives ventilation requirements. Equipment size, A, and duct type, D, are secondary design considerations. Reference ASHRAE 62.1.2019 Ventilation for acceptable indoor air quality. Question 21. When evaluating bids for a large-scale industrial refrigeration system, Carlos Mendoza notices that one subcontractor has not included costs for pressure testing of refrigerant piping. From a risk management standpoint, what should Carlos do before finalizing his estimate? A. Assume pressure testing is included and proceed. B. Add estimated pressure testing costs to the bidders. A contingency. C. Clarify the scope with the subcontractor to confirm inclusion or exclusion of pressure testing. D. Exclude pressure testing costs since it is typically done by the equipment manufacturer. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Pressure testing of refrigerant piping is a critical step to ensure system integrity and is typically required by codes and manufacturer warranties. ASHRAE Standard 15 Inc. Estimators must verify scope inclusion with subcontractors to avoid scope gaps or costly change orders. Adding contingencies blindly. B. May not reflect actual costs and assuming A. Or excluding D. Risks non-compliance and safety issues. Reference ASHRAE Standard 15.2019 Inc. 2021 Chapter 12. Question 22. Considering the evidence from a recent project, which approach should Lauren Ewan use to estimate labor productivity for installing variable air volume valve box controls in a retrofit of an aging office building? A. Use the same productivity rates as new construction installations. B. Increase labor productivity rates to account for potential access and coordination challenges. C. Apply a flat rate per box without considering building conditions. D. Ignore labor productivity variations and focus on material costs only. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Retrofit projects often have limited access to unknown conditions and coordination complexities that slow installation. Increasing labor productivity rates reflects real-world challenges improving estimate accuracy. Using new construction rates. A. Or ignoring variations. C. D. Risks underestimating labor effort and costs. Reference SMACNA HVAC Retrofit Guidelines. Estimating Manual. Question 23. With respect to duct sizing and layout, what is the primary consequence of underestimating static pressure in the design phase when preparing an HVAC bid? A. Oversizing of duct insulation materials. B. Increased noise and decreased airflow efficiency in the installed system. C. Reduced material costs due to smaller ducts. D. Easier installation due to smaller equipment size. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Underestimating static pressure leads to improper fan and duct sizing, causing excessive noise, reduced airflow and system inefficiency, while smaller ducts. C. Reduced materials. The system performance degrades, potentially leading to costly fixes. Insulation oversizing. A. Or installation ease. D. Are not direct outcomes of static pressure miscalculations. Reference ASHRAE Handbook. HVAC Systems and Equipment. The SMACNA Duct Design Manual. Question 24. From a legal and ethical perspective, which of the following should Raj Patel avoid when preparing a bid for a competitive HVAC contract? A. Disclosing all assumptions and clarifications in the bid documents. B. Collaborating with competitors to fix pricing. C. Providing accurate and verifiable cost estimates. D. Adhering to the bid submission requirements and deadlines. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Price fixing and collusion are illegal under antitrust laws and violate ethical standards. Such behavior can result in penalties, loss of licenses, and reputational damage. The other options reflect good business and ethical practices. A reference Sherman Antitrust Act, HVACR Industry Code of Ethics. Question 25. During the process of selecting insulation materials for chilled water piping, what factors should be given highest priority to prevent condensation and maintain system efficiency? A. Cost of insulation material only. B. Thermal conductivity and vapor barrier properties. C. Color and aesthetics of the insulation. D. Ease of installation regardless of performance. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Low thermal conductivity reduces heat gain, and an effective vapor barrier prevents moisture intrusion and condensation on cold piping, which is critical for efficiency and preventing corrosion or mold. cost A. Appearance, C. An ease of installation, D. A secondary considerations to functional performance. Reference ASHRAE Handbook. HVAC Applications, IMP 2021, Chapter 6. Question 26. Given the circumstances of a commercial kitchen HVAC retrofit, what is the most important consideration for Daniel Kim when estimating ventilation system requirements? A. Match ventilation rates to those used in office buildings. B. Ensure compliance with local codes for grease hood exhaust and makeup air. C. Use a generic ventilation rate from the previous project. D. Minimize ventilation to reduce energy costs without consulting codes. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Commercial kitchens have specific ventilation requirements due to grease and smoke covered by IMC and local fire codes. Ensuring proper hood exhaust, grease duct design, and makeup air is critical for safety and compliance. Applying office ventilation rates A. Generic rates, C. Or minimizing ventilation, D. Risks non-compliance and safety hazards. Reference IMC 2021, Chapter 5, AA 96. Question 27. How might one explain the importance of including subcontractor insurance and bonding costs in the HVACR bid estimate? A. They are optional and can be excluded to keep bids competitive. B. They protect the contractor from financial and legal risks associated with subcontractor performance. C. They are typically reimbursed by the client after project completion. D. They reduce the need for quality control during installation. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Insurance and bonding safeguard the contractor and client against subcontractor defaults, accidents, or damages. Including these costs ensures realistic budgeting and risk management. Excluding them may exposes the contractor to potential liabilities. They are not reimbursed automatically. C. And do not replace quality control. D. Reference Construction Contract Best Practices, the AIR Documenter. Question 20. Which of the following best describes the primary purpose of using energy auditing tools during the estimating phase for an HVAC retrofit project? A. To verify existing equipment warranty periods. B. To identify energy-saving opportunities that may reduce equipment sizing and operating costs. C. To establish the project schedule. D. To estimate material costs for duct insulation only. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Energy audits help assess system performance, identify inefficiencies, and recommend improvements that may reduce loads, equipment sizes, and operating costs. This information helps create more accurate and competitive bids aligned with sustainability goals. Warranty verification, A. Scheduling, C. And limited installation estimating, D. Are outside the audit scope. Reference ASHRAE Guideline 14. Energy Star Commercial Buildings Program. Question 29. The underlying principle of calculating overhead and profit in HVACR estimating is to ensure that A. All project expenses are recovered and a fair profit margin is maintained. B. The bid price is as low as possible to win the contract. C. Overhead is only charged on material costs. D. Profit margins are set arbitrarily without analysis. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Accurate overhead and profit calculations cover indirect costs, office expenses, insurance, management, and ensure the contractor remains financially viable. Low bids, B. Risk losses. Overhead applies to labor and materials, not just materials. C. Arbitrary margins, D. Risk financial instability. Reference US Means Estimating Manual, a contractor financial management best practices. Question 30. When considering different refrigerants for a new HVAC system installation, which factor should Enrique Gomez prioritize in his equipment cost and selection estimate? A. The global warming potential to beware and phase out schedules of refrigerants. B. The refrigerants color coding only. C. Availability of refrigerant in local hardware stores. D. The refrigerant that requires least training for technicians. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Environmental Regulations EPA SNAP Program Kigali Amendment restricted refrigerants impacting equipment availability and future compliance costs. Selecting compliant refrigerants avoids costly retrofits and penalties. Color coding, B. And availability, C. Are secondary, while training needs, D. Are important but less critical than regulatory compliance. Reference EPA SNAP Regulations. ASHRAE Standard 34 Montreal Protocol